Let's learn about pulmonary sequestration today. It is also known as accessory lung. The pulmonary sequestration refers to aberrant formation of the segmental lung tissue that has no connection with the bronchial tree or pulmonary artery. The sequestered lung tissue receives its blood supply from the thoracic or abdominal aorta. It is a type of bronchopulmonary foregut malformation and is believed to begin in the accessory lung bed. If the abnormality arises before the pleura is formed, it can result in intralobar sequestration. If it forms after the pleura is formed, it results in extralobar sequestration. Types of pulmonary sequestration. There are two types of sequestration. One is intralobar sequestration and extralobar sequestration. Intralobar sequestration is most common and it's about 75 to 80%. And extralobar sequestration can be intrathoracic or subdiaphragmatic. Let's learn about the difference between intralobar and extralobar sequestration. Incidence. Intralobar sequestration is the most common and it's about 75%. Extralobar sequestration is less common and it's about 25%. Gender predominance. It is equal in intralobar sequestration and it is more common in men in extralobar sequestration. Bronchopulmonary tissue. It is localized to posterior basilar segment. In 60% of the individuals, it is seen in left lower lobe and in 40% it can be seen in right lower lobe. The bronchopulmonary tissue has no separate pleura and it is closely connected to the adjacent lung. Whereas in extralobar sequestration, it is more common in lower lobe and it can be subdiaphragmatic in 10% of the individuals. It has separate visceral pleura and they are separated from the surrounding lung. So artery supply, both intralobar and extralobar sequestration receive its blood supply from the systemic artery, that is aorta. The venous drainage of intralobar sequestration includes pulmonary vein, whereas extralobar sequestration, it is drained via systemic vein like azygos, hemiazygos and portal venous system. So clinical presentation. Intralobar sequestration are mostly presented in late childhood or adolescence as recurrent infections, cough, asthma, hemoptysis, or it can be asymptomatic in 15%. Whereas extralobar sequestration are most common in newborn or within first 6 months. They can present as respiratory distress, cyanosis, or infection. In intralobar sequestration, foregut communication or associated anomalies are less common, whereas it is common in extralobar sequestration. Investigation. In chest X-ray, it is seen as a triangular homogeneous opacity in the affected segment. If infected, it can result in cystic spaces. In ultrasound, the affected segment is hyperechogenic than rest of the lung. And in antenatal ultrasound, it can be diagnosed as early as 16 weeks. In color Doppler, the feeding vessel from the aorta can be seen. In subdiaphragmatic sequestration, it can be seen as echogenic intra-abdominal mass. CT chest helps to differentiate between intralobar and extralobar sequestration and helps in identifying the arterial supply. DSA is the gold standard for identifying the arterial supply. Treatment. Surgical resection is the mainstay of treatment. For extralobar sequestration, the normal lung can be spared because of the separate pleura. Intralobar sequestration, segmental resection or sometimes lobectomy may be necessary. In some cases, coil embolization can be tried. The differential diagnosis for sequestration includes persistent pneumonia, abscess, congenital pulmonary airway malformation, bronchogenic cyst, pulmonary AV malformation, and Schmitter syndrome. The complication of sequestration includes frequent respiratory tract infection and high output cardiac failure. Thank you.